Welcome to Boomzies. This is issue 27.
Issue 27 with no issues, no problems, no setbacks, and no lag, especially.
Yeah, we're rocking on.
What kind of maroons do you take us for?
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
So, issue 27, we're still doing good. We're continuing on.
on.
What is
yes.
Boomzies? You want to introduce us?
Well,
to
Boomzies
people?
is Mass Geek Debate.
Is it?
We debate.
This, possibly?
Yes.
Where is it?
Well,
this is
it's
what we've been
not
up
here.
to.
This is what we've been up to this week, which is going to be the next thing coming up. Of course, we just want a preview. Yeah, exactly. But we are Mass Geek Debate. We debate all things in the geekdom spectrum, from video games, comic books, movies, television, music, and all things in between. And we do it even before the cast as well.
We bitch a lot.
Exactly.
It's nature.
A whole lot.
How much can we get this verbatim?
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are we talking about first this
Sure. We're going to start off, our opening topic is going to be about George Lucas. He has announced his retirement. We're going to talk about a lot of his achievements. We're going to focus on positivity with this guy tonight. And then for our main topic tonight...
Yes, main topic, are video games the new TV? Are they the new television, with video games changing every day and television changing because of the new world we're in? Are they coming more closer together in the entertainment bed? And will they get it on and become one? He did a dirty thing. Or will they become separate entities? How will this all work together?
What's going to happen?
Yes, exactly.
Anyways, before we get into those, we're going to talk about what we've been up to this week. And for me, the first thing I've been doing this week has been bagging and boarding a lot of my old back issues. Nothing really exciting, but I just had a bunch of old back issues that I haven't, taken quality care of. They've just been sitting around the house. So got them all together, bagged and boarded them. Spent most of my afternoon doing that, which I actually like. I mean,
you feel it's a worthy investment of your time.
Yeah, everything's all organized now. I mean, they're not going to get damaged, and it's nice to kind of go back because there's some of the issues that I really liked, and I was able to go back and just reread them because I kind of forgotten about them, set them aside, and went ahead and reread them. So. I like it. It's mainly all DC stuff, which if you guys haven't seen, DC did a relaunch of their branding. I posted a link on our Facebook page, so go check that out. Make your own assumptions. I think it's okay. At first, I really didn't love it.
I think it looks very corporate,
that's
as
what
we talked about.
Yeah, that's what I was telling before this
corporate.
cast. I was like, when I first saw it by itself, black and white, I was like, that is far too corporate for DC. And it wasn't that great. But once you see it in application, it helps it. It's okay. I will grow to like it, but right now I'm just kind of like, meh.
Kind of like herpes. Like, it's there. I can't do anything about it, but I'll accept it.
You don't really grow to like that, though.
It's a part of you.
Well, somebody's speaking from experience here.
But I do have 2 children, and everything's fine down there. Let me tell you, ladies, if you're wondering. It's all working A-OK in the basement plumbing.
Alrighty. Anyway, yeah. So nothing too exciting there, but hey, it's what I've done. The next thing is finally, after like 2 years of production, Star Wars Uncut, the director's cut. Kind of a shitty name.
It's a little redundant.
Yeah, but it's episode 4. I think it's kind of poking fun at what it is, which is hey, it's cool. But essentially, it's a crowdsourced version of Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. Where, if you don't know what crowdsourcing is where you just basically a casting call for anybody. Anybody can put in their 2 cents, put in their own work, and vie for the option to be in something. It's becoming kind of a popular trend thing. You lose kind of some quality control when you do crowdsourcing. But anyway, so it's been in the production for 2 years. People have been putting together this film. Essentially, they take 15 seconds of the film, act it out however they want. They can animate it, they can live action it, they can just do audio, they can do whatever they want. 15 seconds, and then, like I said, it's been in production for 2 years. Finally, it's been spliced together. They took together all of the best 15-second pieces, put it together as a full film. You can watch it on YouTube. I love it. The thing that I love about it is that it's all these people, they're able to be involved and be in the Star Wars universe in their own particular, unique way, do it however they want to, just have fun. And that's mainly the vibe out of watching this, is just people look like they had so much fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, if there was a crowdsourcing thing for a Final Fantasy project, I would jump on it in a heartbeat.
You would do all of Final Fantasy VIII. Let me take care of Final Fantasy VIII, alright?
Yeah.
I got that whole thing taken care of.
Yep, I would, and so like I think that's how I kind of view this. I'm like, I'm sure for other people, Star Wars was their Final Fantasy VIII. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
jump into it, do whatever they want. And some of it was really unique. Some of it was really high quality, especially animation. I've got a slide here of one. It was a really only 15 seconds, but wonderful animation. It looks like Brian had said before, very Cartoon
Network. It looks like Cartoon Network. It looks like I would say Dexter's Laboratory almost.
Yeah, yeah. But and it was very high quality. They animated well, colorized well, very unique look. There was a couple ones that I selected here. The left side, just a very unique illustration style of R2-D2. The animation wasn't amazing with this one, but a very unique visual style, and I really appreciated it. I thought it was really cool. The next one was more of a traditional kind of look, but man, it animated well. It felt like a very early stages of Disney, like Aladdin and like high quality Disney animations, and like just really good quality. So there's some really good stuff in there, and it was really fun.
But the caveat of it being a crowdsourced project, as it is with anything that's crowdsourced, quality control is not really the name of the game. I mean, they're more looking out for a lot of people to just have fun, and that's great. But for every 15 seconds that there was something good, there was another 15 seconds you're like that was all you came up with. You just banging a trash can, pretty much. That's great. Yeah, good job. You like Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, it's but the thing is like. Yeah, I mean it's not going to be hyper quality, but it's just fun. And by the way, people in the chat, I never said Final Fantasy VIII is better than Star Wars. I was just saying, for me, if they had done a Final Fantasy thing like this, I would jump into it a heartbeat. And I'm just saying, for other people, Final Fantasy, this could be essentially their Final Fantasy to me. You know what I mean? How I would view Final Fantasy.
Potato, tomato, tomato.
So, Just saying.
Just saying.
I don't want to offend anybody out there. Like, oh my God, Star Wars.
Yeah, back off, man. Don't you be backing on the Star Wars people.
I know. I'm sorry. They're livid. Livid. But anyways, it's I posted a link to it on our YouTube. Hopefully it'll be up on YouTube for a while. I don't know if it's going to get taken down from copyright issues. I mean, some people use actual footage from the films. A lot of people use the actual dialogue and sound from the film. So I don't know how long it's going to be up, but check it out if you want to. It's 2 hours long.
God. Long.
Oh, it's the whole movie.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. But anyways, what have you been up to?
Me? Well, I have had an interesting weekend. All thanks to a shout out. I want to shout out to Sean, good bud of mine. We have been on kind of an arcade pinball run this week. First of all, this week we picked up a pinball machine, Jokers, by Williams. Classic pinball, made on the same kind of board, same kind of setup as Taxi, if you remember that classic pinball machine. Really, it was just one of those deals where we were going to pick it up from an A-OK pawn shop. He was ready to go do it. We were going to meet for lunch, essentially, and he was ready to go do it. Truck broke down.
I've been there too many times.
Yeah. So you know what I did? I was like, hey, bud, let me get the seats out of the minivan, out of the Windstar, the Swagger wagon, and I will pick you up. And we're going to pick up this pinball machine.
Is it really the one that they used in the commercials, the Swagger wagon?
No, it's not really the Swagger wagon. I just call it that.
I love those commercials. I thought that was brilliant word. Sorry.
No, so I pulled the seats out. I picked him up in Derby. We rolled over there. We had a price set in our head. We talked to them. They budged a little on the price, but not as much as we wanted, and we walked. So we're on the way back to get something to eat, defeated, and Sean calls up his dad because it's kind of for him and his dad. They're kind of both on it.
His dad's got the cash.
His dad's got the cash. And his dad was like, you know what? The price difference between where we wanted to go and where they were at really wasn't that much. And so he said, buy it. So we got done eating, ran on back there, purchased it, took the legs off, slapped it in the back of the van, dried back down. He called up two of his buddies, was like, dude, come on down here. We're going to put this pinball machine. Four of us loaded it downstairs, set it up, played it. Great machine, by the way. I love the flow of the machine. It does have a 3-ball multi-ball, so we got a 2-ball multi-ball, but really cool game and very enjoyable. So
I'm not a big
fun
pinball guy
Oh
myself.
man, once you got to come over and play it. I don't see how people aren't addicted to pinball, because that's my next goal, is to get a pinball machine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I sold my pinball machine, the little cocktail one.
The War.
Yeah, the War, the rare one. So
it's cool.
It's good.
You got what you wanted out of it.
I did. I got what I wanted out of it. But then, kind of a payback for me, Lucky and Wild. This week, I was perusing eBay, as I always do, and I look around eBay for the local stuff. You know, I'll look down I'll say, oh, where's the nearest matches in arcade? What can I find? I usually find nothing in Wichita. Like, I find parts and stuff. And all of a sudden, it's Atchison, Kansas, Conway Springs, 30 minutes south.
Boring.
In this guy's barn, guy's selling a Lucky and Wild full-size arcade machine. Selling it for like $120. 105 bid, 120 buy it now. Look, I'm going to buy it now. Bought it. Next day went up with Sean, loaded up on a truck, came back. The screen's a little dark. We got to recap it. But it's a great game. You know, essentially a driving gun game. One guy driving, shooting. Another guy shooting. Driving, killing bad guys. You can't beat that. So, great game, and I really enjoyed it a lot. So, oh man. Django's pinball machine got stolen? Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Deceptive Creep. I'll talk to you more about that later. But anyway.
A lot of other stuff got stolen too.
Man, I didn't know about that. Crap. So anyway, it has been a good arcade-filled week. Arcade fun goodness. So,
nice.
I want to say real quick, the music tonight that you're listening to is from Wangun Midnight Maximum Tune 2. You know, the classic game we all remember.
Yeah, because that's easy to spit out.
I don't have this music on here because of the game. It's because of the composer, is Yuzo Koshiro, who of course is famous for soundtracks for Street Rage 2, a lot of Sega stuff, Shinobi. I could go on and on, but very amazing composer who made this soundtrack for this Sega Namco-ish racing game, and it's an amazing soundtrack, and we wanted to feature it here. So that's our featured music that you're hearing in the background this week.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So shall we move on
to
our first topic of the night?
Jump in.
Let's jump right in.
George Lucas has announced his retirement from well, I don't know about the clapping, but okay, get it out.
Okay.
All right. But anyways, he's not just announcing retirement from directing but he's announcing his retirement from the whole media, like from filmmaking, which to me I think is a bit disappointing.
Why is it disappointing?
I think he's obviously he's been involved with a lot of stuff over the years. He has given us Star Wars, and he has kind of essentially shit on Star Wars throughout the years. Yeah. So there's that. Yes. I mean, I'm not oblivious to what has happened there. We've already kind of covered what has happened with Star Wars, where all the changes. But George Lucas has done a lot of positive achievements and accomplishments throughout his career that has vastly influenced virtually every film after the fact. So it is a bit disappointing that he is retiring. I think maybe he should have retired from directing, obviously, maybe retired from writing, but I think he should still produce. I think if he could, because guy's got a lot of money, he's going to continue to have a lot of money, and he's got a vision. He knows kind of what can work, and so I would like the fact that if he could still be putting money towards projects to get projects off the ground that might otherwise not get off the ground. And for a good example is Red Tails, which is out now. If people haven't heard about Red Tails, it's the Tuskegee Airmen from World War II, all black fighter pilots. Do you know about these guys?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, anyways, he's been trying to put together this film for 20-something years, but no Hollywood studio would fund it because of the fact that it is an all-black main cast. And it's going to be a large-budget film for what it really is. And no Hollywood studio would touch it because they're like, well, we're not going to make money off this. It's kind of a very pseudo-racist thought within Hollywood. And he didn't like that. And really, honestly, the only all-black movies that succeed are Tyler Perry stuff, and they're by large nowhere close to a big budget Hollywood film.
I don't think that's really the main reason. I think bigotry and racism does exist in any form of media still. Okay, people are still out there that are idiots. But I think people are afraid to touch anything George Lucas does. His name and association.
This has been going on for 20 years, so it's not because of that.
I mean, sure, it's been going for 20 years, but I think as any informed producer or movie house would say, what has he done in 20 years? Even before Star Wars Episode 1, even before the debacles, he did Star Wars, but I don't think they saw a lot of. I don't think they had a lot of faith in him.
Well, but no, I still definitely think that there is a large amount of rate because this is the first large budget, all African American action movie, period. The first. So it's not just the fact of where he's been at. It definitely is. There is an issue within Hollywood, and he fought for that. He got to the point where no Hollywood studio would produce this all. He privately funded this film to get put together, and that's what I like about him. I have mass amounts of respect for George Lucas in that sense, because he fought for it. He got this off the ground with his own money because he had faith in it.
And I will agree with you on this comment I made. The movie looks cool, but the trailer with a heavy dubstep was a real WTF moment.
Yeah,
that's one problem I'll say. Now, this is just in the trailer that I've seen in his directing in the past 15 years. There's nothing wrong with, I'll say, romanticizing or embellishing details and making it just look a little cooler than it did. But it felt very Star Wars, these epic camera angles, and it's like, that doesn't feel authentic to what these Tuskegee Airmen were all about. I feel that they should have gone with a more authentic feel, go less crazy on the angles of the camera, and try to stay a little more true to what I think the feel and the storyline should have been. And the trailer, now, if that's what the movie's about, and that's just a bad trailer, hey, I'm all for it. But the trailer doesn't show it that way.
I'm not sure about that. I know he had, when he started it 20 years ago, writing it and everything, I mean, most of the Tuskegee Airmen were alive at the time. Now it's down to only like 1 or 2 people are alive. And so at least those few individuals were able to see the film in fruition and everything. So, like I said, I just have a large amount of respect for him in that sense. He has been influential in a lot of other things. For instance, definitely Industrial Light and Magic. Because of George Lucas's extreme obsession with CGI, which has in turn drastically changed and essentially ruined a lot of the future Star Wars, but at the same sense, this has greatly influenced most all films from there on out, and in turn video games, and in turn virtually everything else. So you can't say too many bad things about that. I mean, you can say that yes, Star Wars was ruined, but without Industrial Light and Magic, we'd be light years behind.
Well, that's where I think his contributions to the film industry have been great from an outside perspective, not exactly behind the director's chair, from kind of an outside perspective of creating ILM, Skywalker Sound, all these studios and all these people that he has produced these films. That's great. But in that, and like you were talking about him being self-funded, that's, I think, where I think George went in a lot of the wrong direction. Because with Star Wars and the original films, when he directed the first Star Wars, because he didn't direct Empire and the others, he had to go by these other people, by producers, by executive directors, movie studios, in how they wanted the film crafted, and he had to answer to somebody. And I think we just missed a call. Did we?
I don't know. I saw it kind of flash.
We did. I guess it must have been quick. Yeah, and that's my problem. He has no one to answer to. And nobody on his team. Yeah. Of course, I've seen the behind-the-scenes stuff on Star Wars, and anytime he brings up an idea, they're all like, yeah, that's cool. What are you going to say to George Lucas? Well, he gave you a job at Industrial Light and Magic. Yeah, George, that's really a bad idea.
Well, the thing is, I've talked to... Here's one thing that I got out of when I was in Florida for this After Effects training course. One of the instructor that was there is friends with a lot of people that work at Industrial Light and Magic, and dealing with George Lucas, the man does not take no for an answer. If he wants something done, it's going to have to get done, and they're going to have to figure it out. So people that work at Industrial Light and Magic have to say, okay... And they have to basically create
that's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, that's not a problem. That's how you get innovation.
No,
because of his he's probably terrible to work with. He's probably very much in the same sense as Steve Jobs, which is kind of a bear to work with. But because of that, you get drastic, advances in that technology.
See, I don't think that gives you advances. I think that does the exact opposite. As a starving artist, as somebody who doesn't have the power, when you have to think within a box, when you have to think within a pre-described set of rules, you in turn become more creative, because you have to think.
But you're
how do I?
You're just staying within that box, though.
No, but the problem is within that project. There's nothing wrong with staying in the box, because you have to be more creative. You have to be more hungry. You have to do a better job of what you're doing, because there are people around you telling you this is what you can and can't do. Because guess what? I'll say, okay, here's what I'll say. As a graphic artist, and I think you'll agree with me on this. No matter how good I get, no matter how experienced I get, I always talk to other people. I'll talk to Landon, I'll talk to Eric, I'll talk to my wife, I'll talk with other people about stuff I'm doing and go, what do you guys think about this? Does this work? Does this look good? Because input from these other people helps me to be better and more creative, and to say, well, wait a second, This
But
looks
we're
right
talking
to
about two
me.
different things here, though. You're talking about quality of product that he puts out, and I'm talking about technology.
Oh, well, technology is one thing, yeah, but I'm talking about it. Oh, we do got to call the Boomzies phone. Hold on. Hello, you called the Boomzies phone. Who are we talking to?
This Monster of the Mist.
Monster, how you doing, buddy?
It's been a while. No, I just heard you were talking about George Lucas and what he's been doing in between Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and honestly what he's been doing with young Indiana Jones, which I was talking to you guys about a few weeks back.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he was like just doing that show, and honestly, he also did Howard the Duck, which is now owned by Disney along with all of Marvel.
Yeah.
Actually, here's something interesting. Go to cracks.com and look up 5 amazing things by Donald Duck. It'll blow your mind. But, no, I think I'm pretty much a duck lover. Not in the sense that Leah Thompson is, but I just want to see, like, now that Marvel owns it, Disney owns Marvel, I'd like to see, like, Donald and Howard sit in the parlor and smoke their cigars.
Donald and Howard. Huh. I don't know if Disney would ever do that, but that would be an interesting movie idea. What do you think of that, Landon?
Yeah. And then you get Darkwing Duck.
Yeah. And Scrooge McDuck? DuckTales?
Yeah.
Just make it a duck reunion.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Monster, you get on that.
Huh?
I said, you get on that. You call Disney up, and you tell them, hey, I talked to the Boomzies guys, and we're going to make this movie.
To be honest, I am a writer, and I'm trying to become a filmmaker.
See? That's your perfect first film.
Is something, huh?
I said, that's your perfect first film.
It's going to be like the story of 4 friends who go into the Washington wilderness looking for Bigfoot. The question is, will they find Bigfoot before they end up killing each other?
It's kind of a suspense, survival, horror kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of, till they find something worse than Bigfoot.
That's very interesting. Well, anything else, sir?
But yeah, no, just as a fan of Donald Duck and Howard the Duck, I would definitely love to write a comic where they have some adventures together.
Well, that'd be very interesting. You let us know if you start writing something like that. You call us up, and we'll do it.
Cool. Yeah, well, nice talking with you guys again. I just thought I'd let you know that there was a period in between where George Lucas was doing something really great with his time, which was young Indiana Jones. So.
Yeah, it was a different time for him.
All right, well, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, sir.
Nice talking with you guys. Bye.
As always.
But now I do want to say, yes, I mean, I feel like we were kind of talking about two separate things there for a second. I do agree, yes, George Lucas, he works in a bubble. If he had talked to people, specifically adults, we probably wouldn't have had Jar Jar Binks.
No.
I think he probably did source that a little bit, but he sourced it directly to children and did not see how this might affect current fans.
Yeah, but he has nobody to block, no one to be a soundboard to. He is the end, and that's the problem. When you're the only gatekeeper, all the ideas come out, the good ones and the bad.
Right. Yeah, but what I was saying, because of his stubbornness, you get drastic advances in that technology. You probably wouldn't have had THX and Industrial Light and Magic and a lot of these advances as quickly if it wasn't for his stubbornness. And that comes with the fallback of him working in his bubble and essentially ruining things.
But
so that's kind of what I was talking about, because I had some flack in this chat where you have to have that to be creative. I'm like, yes, I agree. I'm a designer. I have to get feedback constantly on all types of stuff.
But I would have rather waited 5 or 10 years for certain advancements and had good movies in the process.
Well, other people do good.
They do with the technology, but again, the technology, and as George Lucas himself was quoted when he was talking about the original Star Wars, the technology does nothing. The technology in itself is not the end-all, be-all. So whether or not the technology was 10 years ahead of its time or 10 years behind its time, the directors of those movies would still have to create an interesting narrative, story, great characters, great actors, great script. That doesn't change, no matter what the technology is.
Right.
So,
Well,
to say that without that, the movies wouldn't have been as good, we wouldn't have known any different.
Well, and a nice analogy to that is essentially Andy Serkis, the guy who played all the apes in the new Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Sure, the technology makes those apes look gorgeous, but you've got the heart and soul of a trained actor playing those monkeys. So, you know, you have to have that good quality acting, that good quality heart and soul.
My dad is
to get
Bigfoot.
something good.
Wow.
So, but like I was saying, George Lucas has definitely pushed the boundaries in the visual effects by creating Industrial Light and Magic, putting his money towards that. Lucas Sound, we wouldn't have had Pixar without it. There was a CG department within Industrial Light and Magic that broke away, and now you have Pixar. So there's a lot of great things that have come from George Lucas being in the industry, and not necessarily just from him directing.
See, and that's what I think is great. I think it is great he's retiring. He can get out of this directing thing, go to producing stuff, but keep his technology there.
He's not, though. He's quitting the whole
field.
But
his technology is still there. Everything he started is still there. And here's the great thing on a Star Wars front. I think Star Wars is a perfect case of where George Lucas himself doesn't even know the whole world like his fans does. Because it's taken on a whole new life with other writers, with other directors, with Clone Wars, all these other series, books, comic books, TV shows, whatever, have sprung from this original idea that George Lucas had. Yeah. So I don't think I have any worries about Star Wars or any of his other franchises dying off anytime soon. I think it's only going to give those people a little more creative freedom. Because they're not going to have to work within anything George puts there, because he's not going to be directing it anymore. So my dream, to see a new bunch of Star Wars themed films, however it is.
Just give it all to BioWare.
Yeah, give it to BioWare.
Give it all to BioWare.
Give it to some qualified directors, qualified people. But on that, I do think no matter what he would have done, no matter how great of a director he would have been, you can't live down Star Wars. It's like Jerry Seinfeld and Seinfeld. Yeah. He's always going to be associated with it, and no matter what he does.
And here's the thing: don't condemn the man. Don't hate him vehemently. Here's the thing.
Oh, I think it's okay to hate him vehemently.
No, he did bring us Star Wars. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have lightsabers. Lightsabers is probably the coolest fucking idea ever.
He ruined lightsabers.
No, but without him in turn ruining it, we wouldn't have had it in the first place. So you have to at least say thank you, George Lucas, for giving us at least the first couple Star Wars and for having that in our minds, and we still love that.
Well,
we love the original Star Wars.
I do.
So you can't.
Well, but I have to wonder how much of that influence was upon art directors and artists in the film, because from what I remember, George Lucas only described the object. George Lucas only described what the object was. He didn't at all. He didn't conceptualize it or draw it or create it.
Sure.
He just kind of was just like, here's an idea, but it was conceptualized and in a lot of ways created by a lot of other people too. So
you can say that with any media. You can say Stan Lee doesn't deserve all the credit he gets, because honestly he doesn't. Stan Lee's a great man. He invented a lot of stuff, but he's not the head Marvel guy.
Where credit is due.
You can't give all credit to Gene Roddenberry. There's a lot of other people that created Star Trek.
Yes.
That's the same with anything. But I'm just saying, like, hey,
yeah, we are talking about Star Wars Proto.
Thank you, George Lucas, for the things that I appreciate out of it. Unfortunately, he did do a lot of stuff that I don't appreciate, but through all of that, there's a lot of good advances that came from it.
Mr. Plinkett summed up Lucas's career the best, yes. If you haven't seen Mr. Plinkett's review of the Star Wars trilogy, the prequels, it's great. But yes, I do agree. He leaves a legacy that I think will be used for good. Will be used for the good side.
It's clearly important because we've talked about this multiple times on this cast.
Exactly.
It's clearly a big thing. So
his legacy will move on, and hopefully for the better.
You're laughing at my statement about... No, seriously, have you seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes? And then watch all the behind the scenes with Andy Serkis? It makes a big difference. That movie was an amazing film. Have you seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
I have not.
I've
only seen the clip where he's like... No! And I was like...
Dude, the build-up to that point was really fantastic. I'll let you borrow it sometime, because it's a really good film. It really, really is.
I'll let you borrow Redline.
Okay.
I just got the American copy in the mail.
Cool.
Pretty awesome.
Nice.
Okay. So moving on to our next topic. And as always, of course, we have our number here if you want to call us via Skype or via landline, 316-778-0730. And you too can be involved in the craziness that is Boomzies.
How are we doing on streaming?
I think we're doing all right. I think better than it was. Yeah. Better than it was. So let's move on to a second bit of conversation here. We're talking about gaming the new TV.
You want to describe this a little bit?
Yeah, the point behind this, the idea behind this is that television, especially in the 80s, and, well, let's even go past 50s, 60s, 70s, that was the main form of in-home entertainment after radio. You know, radio came, TV superseded radio, and now video games are becoming, especially after the Wii, the main in-home form of entertainment. No longer is just people television, watching cable. I mean, you've seen a lot of people talk about how cable and satellite have been suffering in sales. They haven't been doing as well as they have been. It's because people have a new avenue. So it's
and computers.
Computers and the internet, exactly. So it's kind of a twofold question. One, in the sense, is video games replacing television? And number two, within that, there are a lot of shows that have been announced specifically for the Xbox 360 that are premiering on the Xbox 360 console, not on television networks. Not in the classic sense.
And Netflix gets a lot of it.
And Netflix gets a lot of it. And Hulu, and, well, Netflix pushes. You can watch us on...
Netflix is producing films now.
Right. So watch us on your gaming console. They always say that. Watch us on your gaming console. So the thought is, will gaming supersede TV, or will the two entertainment worlds merge? And instead, we're just going to have kind of this entertainment box that will kind of host anything and everything.
Yeah. I certainly, a lot of my friends at this point have gotten rid of their cable and their satellite and do literally only use their gaming consoles, but they're networked up to their computer, so it's not quite to the point, obviously, right now, to where your home gaming console can be used solely, is that you need to have it connected to essentially a network on your computer.
Well, an internet, yeah.
Well, I mean, internet, sure, but I'm talking about like a network of other things that can stream from your computer to your home console that your home console can't have access to. I think things need to improve. For instance, Hulu. Hulu is great on your computer. Hulu is shit on any other platform.
You have to, like, Hulu,
because you don't get the whole
Plus.
Well, yeah, Hulu Plus. But the thing is, you get the whole library on your computer, but you get like a quarter of that library if you stream it on your phone or if you want to stream it on your PlayStation 3. You don't get the full access because they have rights to show it on a computer, but they don't have rights to show it on a home console, which I find very... It's like, why can Netflix do it then, but Hulu can't? I don't know.
It's very weird, very, very limiting, I'd say. Well, and that's the other thing, too, I was talking about. And also, kind of a third prong on this, video games are becoming episodic in a lot of the ways they're being developed now. Because it used to be you bought a video game and that was it. You know, back in the day, you bought a Nintendo game, you bought Ninja Gaiden 2, that was it. It was like a movie experience. But now things are becoming episodic. Of course, we've got Sonic 4 Episode 1, they're making Episode 2. You can make the argument with a lot of DLC, especially if we're talking about games like Alan Wake. We're talking about games like LA Noire that have a lot of download content, and they're very story-based. So it's almost like you get a episode of this show that you get to download and play again.
The prices don't reflect it
Well,
yet.
the prices don't reflect it. No. But the idea is we are getting to this episodic kind of gaming. Not everywhere, but DLC is bringing kind of this television. It's not more like a movie, it's more like a TV show, because you're getting little bits by little bits every week, every month. So could video games turn into that to where we could have a game that is what if we had a game that is a weekly, like for instance 1 vs 100. It was a TV show, they made it on Xbox Live. What if you had a game that was a weekly download with new content that was like a television, except instead of just sitting back and watching, you're interacting.
Right. I think that would be really cool. I think that could extend into... Yeah, I'm trying to think of how I can tie this into comic books. I'm trying to think creatively. How can you make an interactive comic? But it's just an interactive comic book, so there's nothing innovative there.
I think what happens is, though, the developers and the content producers get more money, get more bang for their buck.
Yeah.
So in a way, you are paying more for the end product. You know, let's just say after a year of this, and you've got 20 little downloads for $5 a piece. Okay, now you've paid $100 essentially.
But it's not all up front.
But it's not all up front. It's little by little.
Well,
so yeah, I think
because if you think of $100, that's really not bad because you're going to spend $60 on a whole brand new game, and then you're going to spend $15 of DLC at least 2 to 3 times. So $100 isn't.
J.K. Spencer says most likely merge. Most consoles are referred to as entertainment systems.
Yeah, I mean definitely.
And I agree with that. I think in the future with the next console, we're going to kind of see this merging where it is just a branded entertainment center.
Yeah.
Where it's just Yeah, you play games because, well, and you mentioned it too. I don't know if you were mentioning, but when you go to the Xbox 360 dashboard, you don't go right to your games. Games isn't the first thing anymore. Now you have services, commercials on the front page, video services, music, like all this other stuff that has nothing to do with gaming. You don't start up right on the game. So I think just in the presentation that companies are giving us, they're training us to use this as the all-end-all entertainment box.
Right. And I definitely think I'd like to see a little bit more potential into actual TV networking being used into the game consoles. You know, Xbox has started a little bit. You get some sci-fi and you get different, you know, ESPN and sports channels have already been on PlayStation 3 and then 360 for a while now. But to get actual cable networking built into it, I'd like to see kind of where that goes. You know, I know there's not a lot of people that are backing it right now because it's kind of a weird stage where how do you make money off
this?
This?
You're in the middle, and that's what they're saying. You know, it's again, it goes back to advertising, in-stream advertising. Like when I watch Hulu, they have an in-stream advertising for that movie, and every 30 minutes or whatever, you get an advertisement. J.K. Spencer, we don't like TV because TV sucks now, not because video games are better. And I will agree wholeheartedly.
How about we just make all TV shows like Dragon's Lair?
Dragon's Lair.
You're making choices as you're just watching it.
I would so do that.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
Like episodic content, every single, like you've got a show that streams every week, Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
But then you're like
decisions.
tripling or quadrupling the work because you have to have all these other.
Okay, so maybe it's like once every 2 weeks then, or something. You know what I mean? You could work that out, but that might actually be pretty cool because then you get done with the episode and. You know, you call it for free, like, well, how did yours end? You know, and it could be completely separate. And by then you get to the next episode, and you're already going down completely separate paths. So by the end of the series, maybe it's a 6-part series, 2 completely drastically different endings and stories.
Well, and I think in that case, I think television is going to be taken over by video games and interactive entertainment at some point. Just as we saw radio taken over. Now, radio was not the main source now for entertainment. It's now music. It's not taking a backseat. It's all about music. There's news. There's other things. But it's not, you don't have radio dramas like you used to. It's not, people don't sit around the radio at night listening to radio dramas and news broadcasts anymore. So it's had to change its role. I believe television will still be around, but the thing about television is, and people are now getting used to with these content delivery systems, content a la carte. Pick and choose what you want.
Yeah.
Whereas cable TV, you're paying for this every month, and you just flip. When I had cable, I'm doing this, and I'm like, I mean, without TiVo or some kind of recording device, you're just going.
And unfortunately, it's like with cable packages, you can still kind of get your little bits of pick and choosing, but you have to pick and choose between large groups. Like I want BBC America and say G4, so I have to buy this large package of 30 extra channels.
Right, extra crap.
I really only want 2 or 3 out of it.
But they're not going to do that because they get these other channels piggyback on these packages, like QVC, all those other channels that no one would buy. They're piggyback onto these, and they make deals with these networks. So the problem is a lot of times you have networks making deals with cable providers, making deals with other networks, and it gets in the way of a lot of these content providers. So Netflix and all these other people, you can do this a la carte stuff and not have to worry about the BS about, like you said, buying a big old package.
Yeah. Well, it's so much easier. Like I don't know. I just love Netflix. I'm on Netflix all the freaking time.
See, that's what you see people on there. Yeah. I see my friends listen. I'm like, Netflix.
It's so easy to kind of just like try out shows and stuff too, because it's all there, immediate, you know, right at the bat.
And it's like you said, and then you can do your instant queue, and you can watch through multiple devices. Mm-hmm. You know, with the television, you're tethered to your TV. I've yet to see DirecTV go. Well, I mean, DirecTV has like some sport packages and stuff you can stream, but.
Well, Cox Communications here in our area, we have Cox Communications. I don't know what it would be elsewhere, but it's a standard cable provider. They have just now released where they have an app where you can actually stream your whatever's on your cable to your iPad. That's cool.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? So once you can start getting some of that stuff working,
they're bringing up
to stream to your game consoles.
Wasn't PS2 the first system that really pushed the multimedia aspect with the DVD player? Yeah, and some people mentioned the Game Gear with the FMTV adapter. I'll say that other systems had multimedia options.
Oh yeah.
But as far as seeing an inkling of it being able to take over TV, it's not one and the same. They either were completely different, like DVDs, or they worked in tandem, like the FMTV tuner for the Game Gear.
Yeah.
Now I see it actually being able to take it over, and
well, I think this would be a much more. This is more of a drastic shift rather than just like an add-on. You know what I mean? DVDs are great to have on there. You know, that's probably part of the reason why the PlayStation 2.
Oh, that's a big reason why it was popular in Japan, because it was the cheapest DVD player at the time.
And like the PS1, that's the nicest quality CD player you could have.
Yeah,
at the time. You know?
Exactly.
People were taking PlayStation 1s and putting them in their vehicles, you know, as their CD player because it's such high quality.
Yep.
So, you know,
I would make Snooki kill herself.
that would be the decision.
It's a little drastic.
Yeah.
Let's make her suffer. Okay? Let's make her suffer.
Just lock her in a spray tan booth.
Oh, make her come out nice and...
Well, she's already really orange. But
she's really orange. Just make her look like a tangerine.
Yeah.
Like bright neon orange. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, well, and the other thing that people were talking about, too, is we touched on downloadable content. And Cookie Armor Leader had a good point about it being a lot like pay-per-view. But instead of just paying for it once... Because when we are talking about video game consoles going into this new digital era, where we see download content becoming the new thing and them having a lot of control over it, do you see a point now to where we don't really own the games as much as we do, and it does become like a television show, where you rent it, in a sense, for a short period of time, this content, and then it goes back to them, so then they always retain the rights to this, so that anytime you want to use it, they get more royalties off of it? See, that's what I'm worried about. If
that'd be sad.
We're talking about this getting into TV, and they brought up an idea about...
well, I mean, that hasn't happened with. I mean, that would happen with film before that would happen with anything else, and that's not even in a remote stage where that happens. So I don't think.
You don't think that could be a possibility?
I don't know. I'd have to maybe read up. Is that an article on that topic right there?
Oh no, it's not art. This is a different article on. But I'm just saying the idea is that if you allow, as developers and publishers have more control of their content via DLC. Is the delivery system going to be different now? In that you no longer own it, you are just temporarily getting the game for an extended period of time. You know, this is a month time you get to play it. And then...
No, I mean...
Because they did that...
I would see that as being an option in the same way that Gamefly works.
We're getting a call
on live works.
On the Boomzies Skype phone. Hello?
Hello?
Who we talking to here?
Hello guys, I'm Typhoon Rex from the chat, and excuse my high-pitched voice because there's this thing called the vocal changer that makes my voice deep that hasn't happened yet, so yeah.
That's okay, hey.
Alright.
Look, my voice has changed and I still act like a child, so that means nothing. What do you have to say?
Anyway, since you were talking about the video games becoming TV and all that, and discussing Netflix and all that. In my personal opinion, I would still think that I'd leave consoles, like gaming consoles, gaming tablets, anything like that, purely just for gaming. But I do like the idea of like accepting internet connectivity, like multiplayer and videos and such, but I don't know, I just feel more like gaming consoles should be about, well, gaming and such.
Right, so you don't stream Netflix, you don't stream any other content on your gaming consoles, you strictly just play it for games.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, what do you think about the idea if the next system that came out was focused on not just games, but a whole lot of other things? Would that make it less attractive for you to buy?
Sort of, but I'm not saying that I'm against the idea or anything. I would still definitely buy it, but yeah, what I'm just saying that I just really prefer much gaming, and I leave all other media and like computer, but it's still quite a nice idea. I think.
Well, and I agree with you. I'm a old school NES, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. A video game console is a video game console, but I think we are slowly approaching the age where people are wanting more options. And,
well, I don't think that's necessarily. I think there's two different forms. I think developers, obviously, they need to focus on the game, and that's going to be what that's used for. But hardware standpoint, hell yeah, toss in as many other things as you can. Get it to stream Netflix. I fucking love that. I think that's a great addition.
No, I mean,
I don't think that's
cool.
on the part of developers. I think the developers need to make it to where it's a good game, and that's a whole different argument, I think.
Yeah, Netflix is good, but the only problem is that I can't watch Netflix because I live in a region that I can't get Netflix. So you know.
How insensitive, Landon.
That's pretty bad for me.
Oh, well, I think
this poor guy doesn't have Netflix.
Well, no, but
and you were shoving it in his face.
Whatever. But I think there should be other additions. I think, consoles should have access to YouTube, which they do. I think Vimeo should be added into home consoles. I think there's a lot of viable content on Vimeo that it could be utilized as well. So
I think that's a good point, but I do like the idea that Ty brought up that in becoming a multimedia entertainment system, do video games lose a little bit of their identity, that unique spin they had, and don't have as much of a focus on games if we allow this to gel too much? If
no, because
things come together too much.
Because the video game industry is so large, it's almost larger. I think it might be larger.
It is larger, yeah,
than the film industry.
It is.
So gaming is not going anywhere.
It is quite larger.
So gaming's not going anywhere. Hardware can change. Hardware can have many more additions. Gaming is not going anywhere.
Okay.
So.
Well, Ty,
so, yeah,
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for accepting my call and all that. And yeah, that was my opinion. So I'll just be in the chatting with the other chatters. See you around, Boomzies.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ty. We appreciate your support.
I like that dude. That was cool.
Cool guy.
Yeah, that was nice.
Well, no. I guess the point I'm trying to make though is the reason we are at the place we're at now in gaming, I don't think it's because of all innovations, because of the demands of the consumers. Consumers want access to all their content. So, if in the future consumers say, I'd rather have video games become almost a Dragon's Lair thing. What I'm saying is, I guess, what if gaming becomes less complex in the true idea of video games with a controller, and it simplifies over time to such an extent where it's Dragon's Lair-esque, to where gameplay is simple.
I think you're going to get some of that medium happening no matter what. I mean, as Kinect takes over.
But do you think that would infringe or risk what we as the everyday NES, Super Nintendo gamers, what we enjoy? Is that a risk to us?
I don't, obviously it can always be a risk. That can always happen, because you do see, at least with Nintendo, you don't see a lot of hardcore games, and honestly it's a lot of this casual market, this not extreme, quality, a game is a game type thing. So I mean, it's always going to be a risk, but I don't honestly feel like that's going to go anywhere. I think you're always going to have high quality caliber games. Developers are always going to be pushing out high quality games, and if the hardware pushes out all these different options, I think kudos, the better. Once these games
just bring in more people into the fold.
I think so. And then because here's the thing too, it's like when I talk to people that are, around my age and they're not necessarily big into gaming, but they're like, I need to get a Blu-ray player. I'm like, dude, just buy a PlayStation 3.
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't want to play the games. I'm like, it's going to cost you around the same, and you're going to get a high quality Blu-ray player, and then fuck, dude, awesome. You've got Netflix built into it. You can play your games if you want to. It's a future-proof Blu-ray player because you're connected online. Like, there's all these options that are better for you to purchase that gaming console for this other reason other than gaming, and then maybe they will get into gaming.
I mean, you make a solid point, because you do. The more we
it's a gateway drug for
the gateway.
Yeah.
The more we involve people into the entertainment sector of it, then maybe they do go, I've already got this PS3, I'll go buy a game.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh wow, I really like video games.
Yeah.
Because that is an idea about the Wii. It brought people in because of the casualness. So maybe we can bring people into the 360 and the PS3.
Well, and even less than that. They don't even have to go out and buy a game. They can go directly onto the PlayStation Network, onto Xbox Live, and just download something.
Although, J.K. Spencer made a good point earlier. He was saying that there's one thing that online video services do have, is the issue with downtime and shutdowns and lag, and if your connection's not... you put a DVD in, it's right there.
Right.
But if we get to the point where we're all online, then if there's ever a problem with the servers or anything, then your entertainment options are quite limited.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're paying for a network, and if it's not available, then you kind of.
And that's what I'm looking forward to.
There's always going to be setbacks.
I don't think this is really going to happen until we get a really good internet infrastructure in the United States. Because right now, our infrastructure compared to Germany, is crap.
Our cell phones are...
Cell phones, crap, all... Yeah, I mean, once we get the infrastructure, we're talking about fiber optics. Once we get...
But we're slowly getting there with some... We get fiber optics here and there.
We're slowly, but I mean, that's going to take...
Unfortunately, we've got too much bureaucratic bullshit that you have to get through.
Exactly. So. It's just like the idea of big oil. While we're not getting as much technology on renewable energy, it's the same reason. Big cable companies are set in their ways. They'd rather not change because the infrastructure's already there, and they're going to have to pay more money to innovate and upgrade these things. So once that happens, I see us going on this route. And so have we come to an agreement that TV and video games are just going to kind of merge together?
I think so. I think you're going to see a lot more options on your home consoles, TV networking, new options, new forms of media, maybe a hybrid of a television plus a game.
I think it'll be more competition for television too. Because just like when television came out, it was more competition for radio, and radio had to redefine themselves, and so will TV.
The biggest hurdle is going to be how are these network companies going to make money off of that? I think that's, once they get that kind of figured out, how it's a viable money-making opportunity, then you're going to see it just boom. It's going to be drastic. But I don't think gaming is going anywhere. I don't think it's going to take anything away from a home gaming console. I think it's all, the more the better,
We're just getting into bed with TV. Mm-hmm. And making little sweet hot entertainment babies.
Yeah.
See, that wasn't so hard to agree with that.
That was
okay. You see, I just made a little innuendo there.
You didn't talk about STDs.
No, I didn't talk about doing the vertical mamba or what positions they did it in or any of that. No, I try to keep it clean. J.K. Spencer, gameplay is one thing, the experience is something else. Ooh, that's very deep. I see that in a fortune cookie or something like that. I like that. I like it a lot.
We got those guys in the overshirts calling in.
Yeah. Oh, those guys in the overshirts. Those guys in the overshirts, you crazy duty heads.
Oh, hey.
What are you up to?
I'm just trying to get, working on so I can do stream again, because XSplit, updated so I can start streaming again, so getting that worked out, but I wanted to talk about the whole TV game rental movie thing, with the whole upgradedness of whatever. But I feel like it's okay for consoles to have Netflix and have all this other stuff for extra things, but the problem is, I think it needs to... Video games should always come first if it's a gaming console. If it's a gaming console, games come first.
Well, I don't think it's not at that point, though.
Yeah.
But I think it could, though. It could, though.
Not with as big as this industry is, no.
Yeah.
Maybe years down the road. Not anytime soon.
But, for example of this, if you've seen the new Xbox dashboard, games come, fourth, in the row.
Exactly.
What is up with that? That gives me a bad hint in the future. Games is way over there.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah,
that's why I see it happening.
But where does Xbox make all their money? Through games. It's just a poor layout decision. That doesn't mean anything.
I
totally agree with you that
bad hint in the future. It's just
right. They don't do that by accident. They didn't lay it out in that order by accident. They did research to say
we get videos a lot more. People tend to go there more, so let's put them before the game. It's that shouldn't be
true. That's
not
an accident.
I gotta play my game,
gaming
so
going
games should be
in that sense, though.
In fact, games should be in the home thing. As soon as it shows up, I should be able to get to my games. It's just quick.
But they do have the quick launch feature, which is right there, so you have access to all the stuff that you opened
this
up.
This top tiny right-hand corner.
No, I understand the layout. There's a lot of issues with it. Yeah, I mean, you've got indie games is 17 buttons in. That's bullshit.
But that's the point. They do that for a reason. They do that for a reason.
But I'm not concerned about it. I think it's a shit move on layout design, but I'm not concerned with gaming going anywhere.
No, but he makes a good point, though. They put that in such an order because they see whether it's revenue, whether it's views, whatever reasoning, they have a reasoning for putting that first above gaming on a gaming console. So if Microsoft is prioritizing other things ahead of gaming, not that it will change things forever, but it makes you worry.
Sure.
If they themselves, the game makers, are doing it, what does it say about the future?
Sure. Well, Microsoft has some issues in the first place with the fact that they're still pushing the fucking Zune. Like, give it up.
Oh?
So,
Whoa!
The Zune, don't you have it? Those guys in the overshirts, they all have Zunes. All of them. Just the other day, I was talking about their love for the Zune.
yeah, well, I'm sorry.
And their Zune pads.
Yeah.
And you can play movies. That's
It's
about
the future.
it. Music. I got
That
the Halo
is the
3
future.
one. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Things
the
like
Halo
that.
3 Zune player, see? All is solved. You don't need an iPad, just a Halo 3 Zune player. That's all you need, and everything will be well,
Poor
so...
Zune. Poor Zune.
We got the Nook, the tablet, I mean the e-reader. So yeah, we're all set to go. But,
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, the thing that hurts me the most is when you turn Xbox on, there's a big, huge freaking ad, and mine was gloriously enough to be the Smurfs movie. Thank you. And I think that should be your disc game. The big box should be your game, not that little box in the corner. I just
And you pay for Xbox Live. Why do I get ads?
Yeah. Why do I still have to pay for Xbox and get ads?
Boom.
As said on Ad's game. I mean, this is. I don't like that. It doesn't. I think Xbox is gonna like prioritize on. It just hurts the future. I just don't like that.
I think that's probably another topic for another show, but
Yeah. There's a lot that I can.
there's a lot you can comment on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm coming.
We'll leave
I'm
it.
coming-
We'll leave it alone for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys are almost at 30. That's awesome. I hope you the best year of Boomzies ever.
I know.
So,
It will be,
Good luck.
with no glitches. And no
and
hiccups.
more fucking fresh wipes. More
Yeah.
everything.
More everything. More Charmin Fresh Wipes. That's the main goal. When Lan and I will do a little brainstorming session, that's the number one thing on our list. Everything is under that. If it does not equate to more Charmin Fresh Mates, we're like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I don't necessarily agree
Well,
with this.
That's been a point of contention, but trust me, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, hey, thank you so much for calling in, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. I want to thank Landon and Man vs. Game because you guys got me to the Soul series, and I freaking love it. It is a jerk to you, but I love it. Thank you for getting me into that.
You're cutting out there. Your Skype signal's cutting out. I'm not.
Brian, you because, and you're talking Bayonetta. I saw Bayonetta for $10. Got it. It's like my number. Like
Oh, you're
my
coming
number
back in.
3.
Your signal's coming way in.
Yeah.
I can hear you now. Bayonetta. Yes, Bayonetta.
Yeah, it passes Dark Souls, but I still love Dark Souls. But
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's the yin and the yang.
we can have them both. But
We can have them
I'm gonna
both.
go. So see ya.
Thank you. Very much appreciated, sir. I like how he peases both of us. He's like, Dark Souls. I'm like, "Arr!" And he's like, Bayonetta. Ah!
Yeah.
You know, it's like throwing the meat to the angry tiger there.
Something.
So. It's something, you twat. Why do you gotta be such a jerk about Dark Souls, huh? I can just be nice about it. Every time it gets brought up, you gotta be a dick.
You practically hung up on the guy. He starts
No, I
talking
didn't.
about-
I didn't. I said,
You're like, I'm sorry, you're going through a tunnel. I can't hear you anymore.
I just, and then when he said Bayonetta, reception got clear.
Yeah.
I think it's just the amazing properties of
Yeah.
Bayonetta. They should put it in a cream, you know?
Yeah.
Got some bursitis in the feet? Bayonetta cream. Makes it all better. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, whatever.
So, anyway, I think we've exhausted this topic.
Sure. I'm ready to
Landon
move
is
on.
just checked out. So let's talk about next week's topic, what we're going to be talking about. It is the story of all stories. Video game stories.
Video game stories.
Yes. Video game stories and narratives. The narrative and story in video games. How it has changed over the years from the inception of video games. Where it is at now and where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And what effect it has on gaming. Both good and bad possibilities. And this is going to be a good one, folks. Let me tell you. Landon's already like, I'm getting bitter right now. And I'm going to put that bitterness in a jar and bring it to next week's episode.
I just know where certain things are going with this. I mean, we've
Yeah,
had this conversation so many times.
And it's gonna be hacked out on the cast live. But essentially, we are talking about story in video games. Another element in video games that is, I would say, one of the newer elements that has come out as of late. That has been nurtured like a little plant. You know, we've had gameplay, sound, and music. Gameplay, sound,
Story's always been around. To an
well, it's
aspect,
been around
though.
since the NES.
So I wouldn't say
But
that's a new.
it's become a much bigger part of gaming in the last 10, 20 years.
Okay, if you're stopping at 10, then no, you need to go past 10 years.
10 to 20 years, it's really become a bigger thing, and it's become a more important aspect of games. To such an extent, we'll speak about like Heavy Rain, it is a huge part of it. So, we're going to talk about that, the good and the bad, and we're going to get in quite a lot.
There's going to be...
Let's shake right now.
There's going to be so much
let's
cussing.
Shake right now.
I'm just telling you,
so that
right
there's
now.
peace here, so that when we move on, you'll know that we're squashing anything right now and saving it all for next week. So,
be a lot of beer involved.
A lot of beer involved. Yes, there will be much beer involved. But of course, we are not.
We're so much more than this.
We're so much more than this. This here, whatever. No, this is a big part of it. But we are also Substance TV. You can go to our website, www.substance-tv.com. Is that... You told me that's old lingo. Don't say www. That's not hip anymore.
Yeah, no, nobody puts.
You say substance-tv.com.
Substance-tv.com.
Substance-tv.com. www is not hot anymore.
Nope. Well, you don't even have to have it.
Okay, it's just implied.
Well, you don't. When you type it in, you don't have to have www.
You don't?
No. Huh. Just type in google.com. Type in substance-tv.com. You don't need www.
Nobody has to have www. Yeah. I need to have the HTTP. //
That just keys in for it, though. You don't even have to type that in. Just substance.
Well, I know you didn't have to do the HTTP, right? But I thought you still had to do www. Well, it's already got it memorized, What about a news site? What about a news site?
See?
Go to a news site.
See, it kicks it in right there.
And then it kicks it in. But go to a news site that you've never been to.
I've never been to?
CNN.com. CNN.com.
Okay,
FoxNews.com. FoxNews.com. Fox.com. Let's see if it does it.
I don't know if it's going to go to... I don't know if it's Fox News or Fox.com.
It's going to be a porn site. Like a furry porn. Welcome to
Why furries? Why fucking furries?
There's nothing wrong. Well, okay, it does.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with furries. Do you got something against furries?
Because see, it always implies it. It always drops it in there. So, welcome to 2012.
Welcome to 2012, the new year of the no WWWs.
You don't need the WWW.
Don't need them WWWs. So join us next week for that. It's going to be a very entertaining episode.
Mm-hmm. We're also, we're not just on, we have our website, obviously, but we're also on Facebook. This bickering continues 24/7 on our Facebook page. So follow us. We're on Facebook. Just type in Substance-TV. We're on there. Constantly posting up new articles. Like we posted up the new DC branding. Yep. Posted up a bunch of videos.
And Facebook is kind of where we do a lot of our micro stuff. We'll have big articles up on the website, but that's where we do... videos, news stories, pictures, just all sorts of random stuff that really doesn't qualify for an article on the site. Right. And then, of course, I'll post something up or he'll post something up, and one of us will either go, that's the greatest thing ever, or be like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
And we'll just crap on each other. So, if you enjoy this, get your mini episodes
Essentially.
Yeah. Free of charge on Facebook throughout the week, and enjoy us there. So,
and feel free to hop in there, post questions, ask us anything you want. We'll reply. Just anything from about video games to something crazy like who would win in a fight between Optimus Prime and Batman to just, about us. Just kind of have conversations with us. So
a little bit of everything.
Who would win? Who would you vote on?
Between who?
Optimus Prime and Batman.
Batman's beat Superman. That's kind of...
You know the right answer.
I'm gonna have to go with Batman.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Batman.
I mean, you beat Superman.
Batman would be.
I'm sorry, you beat Superman.
Batman
You're the man.
would be the winner.
Batman would definitely be the winner because, Michael Bay would have this like really big, long, drawn out slow mo action
J.K.
sequence.
Spencer. Oh, sorry.
Does anyone care?
Does anybody care about Final Fantasy 13 2? Yes, actually. Have you played the demo? The demo was actually quite good. They've improved on quite a bit of stuff, and I'm very intrigued by it.
Chatia is a meme. Is a meme? Is it a meme or a meme?
I call it meme.
Meme.
Memes.
Meme or meme? Meme or meme or meme? Let me look at this. Chatia is a meme.
And we pause for a
second.
And we
pause. Wily is an alien. Is dis canon? Is dis canon? I missed that, but I believe it. Is dis canon? Willie is an alien. Is dis canon? Is dis canon? As in canon
as she's
in the
hit
story.
Diz, yeah.
Wow.
So why is that Mega Man conversation there?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I'm not hip. I don't know these memes.
I'm just making an assumption.
Memes, however they're said. So, anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next week, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday, and we'll be even less glitchy next time.
Yeah, we've kind of got things maybe figured out.
Yeah, exactly. So, for Brian
and Landon,
we'll see you next week for another edition of Boomzies.
Thanks, everybody.